Assalamu alaikum. I am Luqman 𝐀𝐶 and this is 𝐶𝐤𝐬 Academy. This is the first episode after the introduction of the connected letters. So today inshallah we will know the shapes of letter Alif, Ba, Ta and Tha, whether in the isolated form, initial form, middle form or final form. So stay tuned.
𝐶𝐤𝐬 Academy.
This is just to remind you that we are explaining using Al-Minhaj book, the official book of 𝐶𝐤𝐬 Academy. So why the connected letters? As we said before, because when we write any word, we don't use the isolated form of the letter, but the letters are joined together. And thus we have four forms for each letter. The first one is this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. So what are the names of these forms? It's so clear. The first one is the isolated form. The second one, which is in the beginning in the word, it's called initial form. The one in the middle of the word, it's called medial or middle form. And the last at the end, it's called final form. Okay? So the first letter we have here is the letter Alif. Okay? This letter is called Alif, as we know. So we will discuss the three forms of this letter in the beginning of the word, in the middle of the word, and at the last of the word. So in the initial form, there is no shape of letter Alif in the initial form. So you might ask why? Because Alif doesn't come at the beginning of the word. How? Because Al-Alif is a mad letter. Al-Alif is a mad letter, which means it's used to stretch the sound of the time before. Okay, so if Al-Alif is used to stretch the time of the sound before, this means that it doesn't come at the beginning of the word. Okay, because it has to be preceded by a letter before. For this reason, Al-Alif doesn't have the initial form. So what about the middle form? This is the middle form of the letter Alif. As you see, this line, and then we will write this Alif. This line is make it connected to the letter before. The same goes for the final form, the same shape. Okay, so Al-Alif, the middle form and the final form of Al-Alif are the same. So let's take now an examples. For sure, because initial form, there is no Al-Alif in initial form, so there is an example. What about the middle form? This is the middle form, the word Ma. Okay, we see this Alif and the letter before, which is letter Mim, and the last word, which is the last example, which is the word Dunya. As you see, this is the Alif in the final form. This we have Dunya. Yeah, we use this Alif to stretch the time of the sound before. So this is the shape of an Alif in the middle of the word, and this is the shape of an Alif in the end or the last of the word. And as we said, it's the same. Okay, so let's move to the next group of letters. As we know, we discuss the isolated, the initial, the middle, and the final. As we said, isolated when it comes without any word, just isolated. But if it's in a word, it will be, if it will be in the beginning, if it will be initial, if it's in the middle, it will be middle form. If it will be in the final, we will use the final form. Okay, so the letter Ba. Okay, how it looks in the beginning of the word. This is how letter Ba looks at the beginning of the word. It will be converted from this shape to this shape when it comes at the initial form. From this shape to this one. This like this, line like this, and line like this. as we see here. Okay, what about the middle form? This is the middle form of the letter B. Two line like this and then line like this. This is the letter B in the middle form. What about the final form? This is the final form of the letter B. Okay, it looks like the isolated form, but we will add a line before like this. So this is the isolated form, we will add line like this. So this is the final form. Okay, let's take an examples now of the letter B. This is a word bad. As you see, this the same here because it comes at the beginning of the word. What about the next example? This word قبل. This is the opposite meaning of the word bad, by the way. Okay, as you notice, we use this form because it's in the middle of the word. What about the last one? An example of the last one. This word عنب, because we will use this here because it comes at the end of the word. Okay, let's take the next letter, which is letter T. Okay, all what we said here of the letter B, the same will be applied to this letter, which is letter T. But instead of putting a dot below a letter, we'll put two dots above the letter. Let's see how this. Okay, so this is the initial form. Okay, and then we have the middle form. You see it's the same of letter B, but just the position of the dots. And the final form. The final form of a T has three forms. This one, or it might be this one, or it might be this one. Okay, and these two shapes are called التاء المربوطة. التاء المربوطة. This one or this shape of التاء المربوطة, if the letter before is not connected, but this one if the letter before is connected. So these two shapes are the same and are called التاء المربوطة, but we will use one of them depends on the letter before. If the letter before is connected, we will use the second one. If the letter before is not connected, we will use the first one. Okay, and this is the original shape of a T at the end of the word. When we use the original shape or the second shape, we will discuss this later, inshallah. Okay, so let's take now an examples of this letter. This is the word tamr. You see the same here. Matn, and you see sabat or sabt, and iddah and jannah. You see the same because it's the end of the word. Okay, the next letter is the letter tha. Okay, with the letter tha, we will use the same of letter B and ta, but just the shape or the position of the dots here with three dots. Here is three dots, and here with just two dots. So let's discover this. Tha, this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is the end. Let's discover the words. ثقة, and we have here فثم. You see the same but just the three dots, and we have at the end حث, as you can see here. So this is the shapes of different shapes of the letters, of the connected letters, whether isolated, initial, middle, or final, of these four letters: Alif, B, T, and Tha. So now we came to the end of this episode, and inshallah in the next episode we will explain the next letters, inshallah. So if you have any question, just let me know in the comment section below. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Now we came to the end of this episode. So if you want to follow up the next episodes, consider subscribing. Also, if you want a qualified Quran tutor, whether for yourself or your kids, we are providing online Quran classes. Don't forget to check out our app. See you inshallah in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.
Shaykhi Academy. Learn and enjoy.